All right, welcome to the first edition of the RSG DKJ NFL mock draft big board. Yes, that's our man Darnell Kirkland Jr. If you've been following us, you know that this young man has been analyzing the game. He can take you inside the numbers. They got Mel Kiper, they got Todd McShay, and we got my man DKJ right now. And we're going to make this is our inaugural big board. You can feel great and honored to hopefully get some feedback on what we see, but we're going to kind of work our way through the first round here and post our first big board in his NFL mock draft. And so, Darnell, how you feeling, man? I know you've been in there studying, thinking about it, looking at your picks, thinking about who's going to do what. I know you've gone back and forth with Hammer and argued and done all kinds of stuff like that. So we just want to give you a stage so now you don't have to argue with Hammer. You can just put your stuff down without him interrupting you.
Yeah, I've been looking at this stuff a lot. I watch a whole lot of football, and it's a fun thing. It's a fun little exercise putting together our own little mock draft. And this might not be exactly how it's going to go down on draft day, but this is what we would do if we were in the position. You know what I'm saying? If we were in the position to pick these players for these teams.
So we're going to kind of work through the draft. Darnell's going to take us to the selections. I'm going to pick his brain on why he thought a person was going to be in that certain place, what value added they bring to the team as well, and kind of work our way through the first round through the end. And so we know we got the Jaguars on the board, and so I'll just go to you and kind of let you take it through and what you think the Jaguars' needs are and where you think they're going to go.
All right, so
as if we're surprised.
The first pick is already been decided on. It's been decided on for most of the season. It really just depends on who had the first pick, and now we know it is the Jacksonville Jaguars. I am very tempted to pick Zach Wilson, but I'm a big fan of Zach Wilson, big fan of his game, but I'm not going against the grain right here. I'm picking who everybody knows who I'm picking, and that is Trevor Lawrence out of Clemson.
And obviously, Trevor had an amazing career at Clemson. Had a bout with COVID, missed some games, kind of hurt him, I think, on the Heisman run. Ran into a buzzsaw of the Buckeyes there in the semifinal game. But I mean, he's got the complete package. This is I don't think people talk enough about his mobility. And obviously he can make all the throws. He's got the size. He's played in big games, and so he doesn't look like he's ever shook. But what do you think, given where Jacksonville is? I figure we should spend a little bit of time on this. What do you think he brings to them immediately? What is your worry for him? What else do you think they might need to make sure he's successful in his first year?
Well, the good thing is they do have a good amount of picks, so they did lose a lot of pieces, especially with the fractures that has been going on in the locker room. A lot of problems that they've been had in the front office, the way that they have treated the players didn't necessarily like the way that they were treated. So he had guys like Leonard Fournette get his way out of there. You had guys like Jalen Ramsey request a trade. This team was a very talented up and coming team just not too long ago. 2-3 years ago, they were a Super Bowl contending team. They lost in the AFC Championship to the New England Patriots, and it all fell down from there because of what was going on behind the scenes. But still, there's still pieces on this roster that you can work with. We did get that. I don't know if it was a late round pick or he was undrafted. I think he was undrafted. James Robinson, the running back. He's a talented player. He's a guy you can work with. You got guys on defense like you got Henderson that they drafted last year. They got Caleb Von Chasen. They got Miles Jack. They have pieces. It's not necessarily an empty cupboard, and especially since you have those extra picks, you can fill out this roster rather quickly.
Yeah. We all know about James Robinson, at least here in the Rockford area. He is. I knew he was going to be talented. Actually, I was at a Wisconsin game and saw a scout there and told him, "Hey, this is a kid you need to go take a look at." You probably didn't think I knew what I was talking about, but this is a kid. So you got a running game, and sometimes the best friend of a quarterback, you and I've talked about, is a good running game can be the best friend of a young quarterback as well. All right, we got the Jets. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So for me, you know me, I like to build the house. If I'm the Jets, I trade out of this pick. But since we can't trade out of this pick right now in this sort of scenario, I'm gonna end up going with Penei Sewell out of Oregon. And Penei Sewell, he's super talented. This guy is a physical specimen. You rarely see this kind of feat on an offensive lineman his size. Like, he's 6'6". He reminds me a lot of Aaron Donald because he weighs a lot. Like, he's 6'6", 330 pounds, but he doesn't look like he's 330 pounds. His athleticism, he's built like a smaller position player. Like, he's built like he could be like a linebacker or something like that, like the way a linebacker would be built, but he's 330 pounds and he moves exceptionally well. And they have him listed at tackle. Of course, he played tackle at Oregon, but I have this weird little fantasy of seeing Penei Sewell play guard next to Mekhi Becton. Put them both on the left side. I know you can do the bookend tackle thing, but if you put Penei Sewell at guard next to Mekhi Becton, the things that they will do, to opposing defensive lines. You talked about the running game with Jacksonville. Just run power left, run stretch left. Just let them go to work. Like that, this is something to look at. If I do stay at 2, this is what I do.
Yeah, and I mean, and they're saying, we're making a commitment to righting the ship with, Sam Darnold in a way. I mean, people have to understand with Sam, when you look at his legitimate time playing quarterback, because he didn't start playing quarterback till late in his high school career. And I think that's one of the reasons why you see so many interceptions, because, I think he rose fast. So he makes a lot of good plays, but he's still relatively learning how to play the position. When you look at the kind of trajectory, he wasn't a guy that was building that trajectory all through high school, leading a team. But he became that starting quarterback late in his career. Then next thing you know, he's at SC, and then before you know it, he's in the league. And so, how do you help a young quarterback again? Give him a security guard. Give him somebody that one thing he doesn't have to worry about on the field. As well, and so I think Sewell fits the bill on that as well. Then we go to Miami. I'm gonna tell you right now, Flores and that company down there, they've been doing some interesting things. They're building a culture down there. They got Tua down there doing his thing as well. But when you're talking about a culture and changing the culture of a team, Miami is definitely found a way to build a really good foundation and had, I think, a really good run this year. Where do you see Miami going?
Shoot, man. Me and Hammer darn near got into a fist fight over this a week or so ago. But yeah, I'm sticking to what I said. I'm picking Devontae Smith right here out of Alabama. He reminds me of a lot of greats. Like he reminds me of Marvin Harrison, Torrey Holt. He reminds me of a little bit of Jerry Rice. I want to hold off on saying Jerry Rice because his name is just so much of a, his name is sacred in the game of football. You don't just give that up. But Devontae Smith certainly has that skill set. His route running is impeccable. Just the attention to detail in his game is amazing to me. And I think it's a huge mistake to write him off because his size, especially, I can understand if he was like really short, like if he was like 5'7", 5'8", he's like, hey, he can't grow. I mean, but he's underweight, and that's something you can change. Like we saw in basketball, Draymond Green, when he was at Michigan State, he was overweight, and there was like, well, okay, who's he going to guard? So you saw him, he shed a few pounds, and he can switch 1 through 5. He can guard guards. We've seen him guard Damian Lillard off screens, guard Kyrie Irving, stuff like that. You can see him gaining 10, 15 pounds and being just a normally sized receiver with exceptional skills, with an exceptional skill set. And on top of that, we mentioned the way that you can help out a quarterback being the run game. But another way you can help out a quarterback is a quick passing game, a way where you can get the ball out of his hands fast, a guy that can get open and win fast. And you have that in a guy like Devontae Smith.
And it's interesting about what Smith is that, we've had discussions, there's always discussions about, do you take a running back? Do you take certain players, particularly that high, and how do you build it? And, I've heard a lot of discussion around this potential pick. But I think what's been consistent is when you take a receiver like this is when you're trying to put the icing on the cake. You got a lot of other pieces in place that allow for this receiver to be successful, right? So many things have to go well for a receiver to go to be successful. You got to call the right plays. You got to have protection for the quarterback. Quarterback's got to be able to make the throw. There's a lot of things that are going right. But the one thing about Miami is they got a lot of those pieces in place. The one thing they probably do need is a great receiver.
Yeah.
Go with Parker and some of the other.
Their offensive line is not good. The offensive line is struggling. You probably will need to address offensive line.
Yeah.
But like I said earlier, another way to protect the quarterback is to make those reads simpler and make those reads open quick. So, like, if he can get the ball out fast, that's just another way to release that pressure.
Yeah, another thing is that takes another person out of the box because you got to be aware of him, right? So you don't he's the kind of guy who can get the ball and take it to the house. Maybe you don't got that many people committed to the run game. Now your run game is looking a little bit better because you don't have as many people committed to the run game. Yeah. I think they got a young tight end they can build on too.
Mike Gesicki,
yeah, Gesicki. So I think they got some pieces that sometimes a receiver like this can make it easier on everyone, right? You can take some pressure off of them and get people into the matchups that you want to have them in the matchups. The Falcons, ever since that debacle, as Hammer would say, in the Super Bowl, where they had everything, all they had to do is get a couple first downs. It's been all downhill. It just seemed like it's been a spiral, and they have talent. It's not like they just don't have any talent, but they just have not been able to fulfill the promise. What do you got going on with the Falcons?
Man, like Kanye said, I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home. I got Atlanta taking Justin Fields from his backyard in Kennesaw, Georgia, I believe. I think that's where he's from. And that actually might be where Lawrence is from. They're both from Georgia. I believe Justin Fields is from Kennesaw, but either way, he is a Georgia kid. Him and Trevor Lawrence had battles even from their high school days. But yeah, I got Justin Fields going back home to his home of Georgia. And he is a super talented kid, right? But when you go to Atlanta, like we said with Miami, when they have the weapons that make it easy for them. At Atlanta, you have Calvin Ridley, a great route runner. You have the great Julio Jones, who has Hall of Fame talent. You're gonna be in a situation where you do have weapons. So I think it's a good situation for him. He's coming back home, and I think that's great for him.
So, and I haven't quite looked into this deep. So, would they be moving on from Matt? Yeah,
I will move on from Matt Ryan. That's me personally. I'm not sure if they're actually going to do it, but that's what I would do.
Okay. The Bengals, I mean, Joe Burrow was cooking. They competed. You can see that they got an upward trend a little bit here. At least they got something to build on. They got a quarterback who, before he got hurt, demonstrated he could play. What do you think about the Bengals?
Man, it takes everything within me to not pick Jamar Chase right here. Because, I want to see Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow get back together. But I just can't do it. He needs help. This offensive line is ridiculously bad. And so with that being said, I'm going Rashaan Slater from Northwestern. And Rashaan Slater He's not a guy that a lot of guys have seen really, but if you look at him, he's very solid. Like he might not be the fastest, he might not be the strongest, but the nuances of the game of offensive line he has down. He can punch his hand placement, foot placement, his punch is strong, and like the argument I had with Hammer yesterday when I said when you watch Penei Sewell, what elite edge rusher have you seen him go up against? He couldn't answer it. But you know what? I have seen Rashaan Slater go against Chase Young and be very successful. Chase Young might have went to the other side and destroyed the other tackle, but he went to Rashaan Slater. He wasn't having that, and that's something to behold. That's something to hang your hat on. This guy is a guy that you can see and you can say, okay, I know he's going to be a player from day one because I've seen him play against NFL talent and succeed. So he's played against, he played against Wisconsin, he played against Michigan. It's not just Chase Young, but yeah.
Yeah, with a lot of great rushers that you're seeing playing in the league right now, and he's smart, and he can consume a lot of information to be at Northwestern as well. So it's an interesting pick, and it's one of those things where if you're trying to win a championship, you're not trying to just have shiny cars, right? It might make sense to reunite him with his former teammate. But if you're trying to win, Finks always said back in the day, you got to win. You got to build from the inside out on both sides of the line of scrimmage. And you and I have talked about that. Even in this short passing game, quick passing game, even in this kind of when we're using spread offenses and RPOs and all that stuff, you still have to win the line of scrimmage to make that stuff work effectively. We saw that in the Alabama game. When you can start getting downhill, you can use play action, motion. You can really do some things. So this is an interesting pick. Now, we talked about on the show the other day, we don't know what's going on in Philadelphia. I mean, you get rid of a Super Bowl winning coach. You don't know who's running. Well, you know who's running the shop, but whether or not they're going in the right direction, who's contributing to downfall. We got a lot of questions with Carson Wentz. We got Hurst there who demonstrated some ability. So there's a lot of questions about where they're going to go in terms of the organization going forward. Organization that was viewed probably 2 years ago as probably one of the premier organizations in the league. There's a lot of questions right now about it. What do you do right here with Philadelphia?
Yeah, I hate to do it to him, but at the end of the day, this man made possibly the smartest decision in 2020. Jamar Chase, he opted out of the season, right? He opted out of the season because he saw that roster and he knew, man, I had a great season last year, but this year with the talent that's on LSU, my draft stock can only go down. And that's exactly what would have happened if he came back, because he would have been the centerpiece, the only thing going on the offense, and he would have looked, and it would have hurt his draft stock. But Jamar Chase, we really missed out on seeing him play this year. This guy, I've said before, is in my opinion, the reincarnation. Even though he's still alive, he's actually still in the league. This is the second coming of Larry Fitzgerald. This guy is the king of contested catches. Like, this guy he is the ultimate security blanket. You throw it up to him, he's coming down with it. He's a nuanced route runner as well, and he's just crazy strong. Like, he'll bully DBs. Like we talked about Devontae Smith, he might be too slight to play receiver. We don't know about that, but Jamar Chase, he's the exact opposite. He's gonna come down with the ball.
Yeah, and and that's the name of the game. I think in the league, one of the things they said about some of the young quarterbacks talking about Tua, they're so used to throwing to guys when they're open, but in the league, you got part of the success is guys catch balls that don't look like they're open, and when you have a guy who can contest and catch balls in traffic and battle, that makes all the difference in the world, and helps whatever direction they decide to go on the quarterback. But they really add in some value to go along with what they have in the running back. And, they're going to have to do some work, continue to reinforce the offensive line just with the injuries they've been able to have. But having someone like that, that's another playmaker, is can help out a lot.
Yeah, also with the offensive line, getting Lane Johnson back is going to help them a whole lot. He is a hell of a player at the right tackle spot, and he missed pretty much most if not all the season, but he missed most of the season with that ankle injury. So when he's back, when Kelsey is right, the offensive line is going to look a lot better, in my opinion.
Well,
they're going to need to be addressed, but it's
And you probably there's some options later on in early rounds to build in and bring some folks in, if nothing else, to protect you against injury and still having quality linemen there who can keep things going. Hank is probably thinking not another tight end. Although you got the Lions coming in,
I should do it just for Hank. I should do
it. Coaching changes out with the New England regime, and they're going in a new direction. But how do they start this new era of Lion football?
I'm getting Stafford up out of there. I'm going with Zach Wilson. I talked about him earlier. I absolutely love this dude's game. He's a gunslinger. He reminds me. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I'm not doing it because everybody that can move, can throw the ball from different arm angles, can throw a deep ball. They say everybody's Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying he's Patrick Mahomes, but I'm saying he gives you a lot of stuff that Patrick Mahomes gives you, and his talent just jumps off the screen when you watch him. And I think Zach Wilson is a great guy to build your offense around going forward.
I love his energy when I watch him. You and I talked earlier in the season. I watched him. I don't know if I was texting back, but I was like, this guy Zach Wilson is, BYU is when they weren't giving him a lot of respect. But I was like, this guy can play. He pops off the screen. Ultra competitive. Knows how to deal with adversity. Is tough. A winner. He could really change the energy, in Detroit if you're looking at making a change. You got Rule and company there in Carolina, really trying to establish the program. Christian McCaffrey is a great player, but has to stay healthy. They obviously moved on in terms of their quarterback situation. There and just had a change in the regime, and so they're trying to build something in Carolina. What do you have them doing?
Hey, I know I'm going with a lot of quarterbacks, but in the NFL, it is a quarterback league. At the end of the day, it's a quarterback game. Football, you need a quarterback to run the show, and with Matt Rule's system, the way he uses the RPO, especially watching him at Baylor. He could definitely use a guy with the upside and the physical traits that Trey Lance possesses. And with Matt Rule's system, I think Trey Lance will be helped a lot because you're going to make a lot of the decisions seem more they're more clear and they're more decisive. Like you're going to limit the mistakes that a young quarterback could have. But while also developing him into being a good quarterback, especially because he has a high ceiling. Like this guy, he definitely has a high ceiling with the physical traits that he possesses.
Now he's coming out of North Dakota State. I mean, obviously in its division level is a powerhouse. We've seen what's happening with quarterbacks coming out of that space. They always ask the question about competition level. Development, stuff like that. But what gives you have you seen enough film to give you confidence on his ability to deliver?
No. To be honest with you, no. I haven't seen him play that much. Like I've seen a little bit, but it's questionable opposition. Like I can't really tell what you're coming with when you're playing against these lesser competition. So I don't really know exactly what I know. What I see, I know he has a really strong arm. I know he's athletic, and he's somebody that if we go into training camp and he's not quite ready, I still do have Teddy Bridgewater on my team, so I can play him. But I do have that that draft and stash ability where I can develop this guy if I need to. But if everything goes right, I do want to see him on the field. That kind
Now,
of
some people might say, you know, you got Teddy Bridgewater, who's proven to be successful in the NFL, you know, in two different locations. You know, why to spend this, you know, almost poor man's version of Aaron Rodgers, right? You know, why not give Teddy something else to play with, right? You know, they got a lot of needs here, or shore up the rest of the team in ways that could make them advance if you spent that money to also get Teddy. What's your response to that?
That's a tough one because I definitely understand where they're coming from because like I could be in the same boat as well, but at the same time, when you have the ability, because to pick this high and get somebody this upside ability, you want to just be able to have him just for the possibility. Because what if he turns into somebody that is a top 5, top 10 top 5, top 7 quarterback in the NFL, and he could be the next Josh Allen. He could be the next Justin Herbert. He has those kind of traits. And if I can get that guy on my team, on my roster, I need him.
And you know, that's what I'm thinking. You know, I know you're going to talk about this. Some edge rushers coming up. That, you know, if you add them into this mix, you got Christian McCaffrey coming back. You got a corner. You got a Patrick Surtain. You know, you get a guy who can just shut down one side of the field for you. And
for the Panthers,
yeah, they say they got some needs of a cornerback. You know, say they
kind of do
got some needs.
But at the end of the day, there's last year they spent their entire draft on defense.
Mm-hmm.
So like, we could go defense again, but
yeah, I mean,
we could definitely go defense again. But
one thing we have learned is if you can just dominate there, that
right.
a guy like Bridgewater, if you just become dominant on one side, you got a guy like Bridgewater, you give him the pieces to manage it. That creates an interesting scenario. It's just something to ask. I think this is a great pick.
I can see that.
But it's something that could be possible. All right, we got the Broncos. We got Elway out of the general manager's chair, moving up to being the president, overseeing the operations. You know, getting out. You know, he had a spotty, you know, career as a GM. You know, we love Elway in terms of as a quarterback. He was a gamer, but you know, he had a spotty career being at GM and picking. But he's going to try and get that responsibility to somebody else. So, what do you think could happen in Denver?
I'm going Kwity Paye from Michigan. He's a fluid defensive lineman. He can play different spots. He can play 3 tech. He can play 5 tech. You know, you could pair him with a Von Miller and really shore up and possibly, if he turns out the right way, dominate on that defensive front. But Kwity Paye, he moves like a different position player. He's a defensive lineman that moves like a skilled player. Like he brings that kind of explosiveness to the defensive front, and especially because he could play 3 tech. A lot of guards are not going to be able to handle that movement.
Yeah, he comes with an amazing story. His road, the sacrifices that came along to get to where he was to get to Ann Arbor, just his life journey. Actually hungry, and so you know, to have that kind of hungry spirit again. Denver was at its best when that defense was cooking, and you know, to add another piece in that defense and really allow them to get back to that elite level because they have so much depth by adding somebody like this that's versatile. I can see that. And then we talk about the same old Cowboys. My goodness, another place we trying to figure out what's going on. They bring McCarthy in, thinking that he could right the ship. The ship was sinking. They get rid of I believe they got rid of the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, Mike Nolan. He was one and done.
He one and done.
I think he was in charge of securing the capital.
One and done, man. One and done. So, what do you say about them Cowboys? I know we got a lot of Cowboy fans.
I'm looking at the team needs, and this is just so disrespectful. I don't see how it says quarterback team needs. Well, who you have Dak Prescott. I'm not picking a quarterback in the top 10. It's just not happening. I'm going with the guy you mentioned earlier, Patrick Surtain. He really impressed me during the national championship game and really the back half of the season in general. Patrick Surtain, he's a coach's son. His father played in the NFL. He was an All-Pro in the NFL. So he comes from good stuff. He has good teaching, and he plays like he has good teaching. He's well-schooled. He has a great technique. He might not be the guy with the Marshawn Lattimore speed that's just going to be running with any and everybody. He might not have that, but he is as polished as you're probably going to get as a youngster. As somebody that's been he's an underclassman. He's coming out after 3 years.
Yeah, he's one of the what I will call the legacy players that we might talk about here in this big board, where he comes from that legacy, comes from that line, that NFL alumni legacy group, where he probably was his orientation to the game was young, and you can see that he just knows and has instincts like a coach's son, right?
Mm-hmm.
Still knows how to play a little bit. Joe Judge came in and he's made it known we're gonna play hard every day. We playing to win.
Yep.
Like these folks who just out here giving up wins, and so he's clearly trying to focus on changing the culture in New York and how the Giants and getting it back to them old Giant days of Parcells, and it just feels like he's trying to take it back to them days where we're just gonna be tougher than you. And so, what do you think he does? In this draft here.
Well, I got I'm going to give Daniel Jones some help. I know they got Kyle Pitts listed as a tight end, but he's just an amazing receiving threat. With his size, just looking at the NFL, the way these tight ends can affect the game, like they're matchup nightmares, especially a guy like Kyle Pitts. He's too fast for your linebacker. He's too big for your corner. It's just a matchup nightmare. And if you have a guy like that for Daniel Jones to play with, and as well you have a Saquon Barkley that you can use in a variety of different ways, this is going to bring a boost to your offense for sure.
And as we go to the West Coast, the 49ers have, John Lynch, he's one of these guys who just, came out of the studio, off the field, and into the GM. And I always saw him as a smart person, figured out, but I was like, okay, this is a jump. He's done a really good job running his team, obviously getting Shanahan, getting that run to the Super Bowl, but their issue is, like we always talk about, the keys to success is being available.
Okay, the best ability is available.
Yeah. And so having Garoppolo, not having a quarterback who can stay healthy, that's a big issue. And they got some other issues around here. What do you think they do in the first round?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people go quarterback here, but I'm going to go with the 49ers pick. I'm going to go with a pick that is very on brand for them. I'm going Christian Darrisaw. He is just a physical specimen. I mean, there's another offensive tackle that's just he's huge, he's strong. Like he kind of puts you in the mindset of a Trent Williams. He might not be as talented as Trent Williams was coming out, but he is pretty good, and he can learn from Trent Williams being there. And you can put him on the other side of Trent Williams, and you're just going to dominate the line of scrimmage. And that's something that they really want to do. They thrive off that wide zone and the play action off of that. So that's where I'm going.
That sounds like a Vitek guy. They had an interesting up and down season, but it takes a whole team to put it together. But it's been clear that he's grown every year, is everywhere. So we need to add him into the list.
Oh, I didn't put it down.
Yeah, now we can't have a big board if it ain't big, if it's not showing with the board. All right. This is an interesting team with a lot of talent. We talked a little bit about this before in one of our shows. The Los Angeles Chargers. I mean, there's a lot of talent. We're talking about coaching positions. What's a good coaching position? if you're looking at openings, and this obviously has a lot of talent, some stuff that's ready to go. Now they got a pick that's pretty decent pick where they can add some value to that already kind of talented group of folks. What do you have them doing?
I can go two different ways. I can go Jalen Waddle and just have just a different array of weapons. You have the weapons of all different types. You can have a Keenan Allen, that's the route running type. You have Mike Williams, that's has the size. It's him and Hunter Henry both, and then you have Jalen Waddle, guy that can do it all. Like he's the guy you can put him on the inside, and he can hit you with that quick release, and he's gone. I mean, he can take a slant 80 yards. He's one of those type of guys. Or I could go Wyatt Davis, and he's just the best available offensive lineman, and that can really shore up that O-line and give them help that they desperately really need up there. And I think that's where I'm going. I'm going Wyatt Davis. Even though he is a guard, and guards usually don't go this high. But I'm going the best O-lineman available, and that is Wyatt Davis.
All right.
Find Wyatt Davis. Where are you at, man?
They got you scrolling down, Wyatt, so far.
Wyatt Davis is the number 40th ranked player in this year's draft. That is something else.
So I'm already hearing hammer right now, so this is going to be interesting when you do it. The Vikings. I don't know if I can say that at a crossroads, but I went in the preseason with the Vikings is they got a head coach who's highly conservative, not because he's a defensive guy. That's just his orientation, and he's got a Ferrari, and he's driving that Ferrari like it's a Model T. And I think that's one of their struggles. They got, and then you lose Diggs and all these other things because of the way you approach the game. He gets disgruntled. He doesn't really want to, but they got talent. They got a great running back. They got some receivers. But they're offensively, they play like they can't score when they can score. And so it's just, I don't know how to explain it, but remember that I said that as we did our NFL preview. And so I'm interested in to see where you think they're going to go.
Man, offensively, I think they're going to do their thing. Their main problem is, like you said, is play calling. If they can find a way, Justin Jefferson broke Randy Moss's rookie record, so he's been getting it in. So their offense, and they had a great running back in Dalvin Cook. So I think their offense is set. Defensively, that's where I'm going, and I'm going to address it from the interior of the defensive line. Christian Barmore, we saw him in the national championship game, being absolutely destructive, and that's where I'm going. Christian Barmore. I heard a lot of mocks picking Russo over here, and to be honest, I watched Russo, and I'm not necessarily sold, but I'm going Christian Barmore out of Alabama.
Yeah, I think he really sealed the deal. Going up against, even though they had some injuries, he go up against a pretty good Ohio State offensive line, and he handled business. I think that's probably going to add a few more checks in his pocket a little bit. And he had his post game interview was like, this kid is all about football. He like, we stay focused. I was just cracking up. You look at Saban was just cracking up in the background. All right, we got, we had this big discussion about, who was going to benefit this year, and it was clear Brady won this battle. And Belichick, it was good that he didn't accept the Medal of Honor. That he knew he got some other focus to do. Now they're sitting in a position to get a decent draft pick, but they've been hit and miss sometimes about their drafts, right? The Patriots, much as people love Belichick, they've been hit and miss on these first rounders. I feel like sometimes maybe I'm missing it wrong, but I'd be interested to see where you think they're going to go.
I don't know if this is exactly where they're going to go, but watching them, I got love for Cam Newton, but I think he's past it, and I'm not necessarily sure this is a great fit for him with New England and the way that they like to do things. If I'm New England, I'm going with a quarterback that he is very detail oriented. He goes from his progressions 1, 2, 3. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He's very accurate as a thrower. I'm going Mac Jones. And I'll be very interested to see what this big board has Mac Jones, especially seeing the type of football that he has put on display for us. All right. Where is Mac Jones? 34. Interesting.
And I think part of that is people don't know if it's the system or is it him, right? Given this kind of full year. But I think even when I've seen people break down film, you're right. I mean, he is very disciplined, but he has a leadership quality that's there. He can make the throws. He's not without somebody. He has arm strength. It's just whether or not a Belichick will do that.
We've seen Belichick do that. You've seen what he's done with Brady, of course, and even when Brady got hurt, we've seen what he's done with his backup. His backup. You've seen Jimmy Garoppolo. We've seen Brissett come in and do work, and even before that, 2008, they still went 11-5, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, those are quarterbacks he got in later rounds, right? So we're talking about Belichick quarterback in the first round, which I think makes sense. I think this is a good pick for him in the first round. It's just whether or not he's gonna pull the trigger. We'll see. We got the Cardinals. I mean, the Cardinals, I would say it's a team with the arrow going up, but they have an opportunity to just get better right now. They got some talent on that roster, but they got to learn how to win. And they just got to get better. Who do you got going on?
I'm going Caleb Farley. I think Patrick Peterson's out the door, and also Patrick Peterson. He's getting a little up there. He's getting older. He's not getting any younger. But even if Peterson does stay, having Farley on the other side really solidifies his defense, and I'm going Farley.
Now, Farley is someone who came in as like a quarterback in high school, moved to receiver, and then became a cornerback. And so usually that takes a little bit about, but it sounds like he's been a fast study and really been able to do them. And, and Vatex had they got a little history on creating those cornerbacks and those defensive backs and from the mold day. Yeah, so it's interesting. And now we got the Raiders. We got Mayock and Gruden in the room, in the dungeon, in the Death Star, in the basement somewhere locked. Like, you got that big, beautiful stadium. They're gonna be in this basement somewhere back in the corner because they just want to feel like they're struggling. They might sleep there all week before the draft and come in and make this pick. What do you got them doing?
I'm surprised he fell this far off my list. I absolutely love Michael Parsons. He's a very explosive defensive player. He plays linebacker, but he can play in the inside, and he can also rush the passer from the edge if need be. He can cover. He has great athleticism, and he ended his college career with a bang in that bowl game. And I know it's a distant memory, but he's really good.
Yeah, and I think part of it was that Penn State just was so terrible in the beginning, and then somehow found their stride. It ended up strong, and sometimes great players like this can get lost. There was just so much going on, so much noise, and you sometimes can forget. That you have someone like Parsons, and even a lot of talent on that Penn State team that just took a while to get revved up given these circumstances. So, it's
last year or this year?
This year, I'm saying.
No, he didn't play this year. He opted out.
No. Oh, so he opted out. So
yeah, he didn't play at all this year. I'm talking about last year's bowl game. He dominated.
Oh yeah, well last year he dominated. Well, it's probably a good reason why he didn't play this year. He probably he might have been a little farther up the board if he would have played this year. So, but this is good enough. 17.
Well, he might go earlier. He
could go early. Yeah, he could go earlier. Probably even because it depends on. He could go a little earlier. Depending. I mean, he's someone that I could see Belichick getting. Again, Belichick he's put some money in the bank on that defense. So he's an interesting kind of guy. I could see him, making that kind of decision as well. We're back with Miami, and Miami sitting here again. They already got their receiver. And so we're back with the Dolphins. What do they do down there in Miami?
Man, I'm putting the game back together. This is not going by the chalk. I know this is fundamentally wrong. You do not draft a running back. Blah 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 blah. You do not draft a running back in the first round. But I'm taking Najee Harris. We've seen I'm not passing up on this opportunity, especially with the chemistry that they have, and just knowing the culture that we talked about yesterday on the show, the culture that these guys were cultivated in. You know that they're going to be able to handle Brian Flores' coaching, and under that Belichick tree, they're not gonna shy away from self coaching. They're gonna put the work in. They've shown that they will do what it takes to win. Having Najee Harris, having Devontae Smith, and having Tua Tagovailoa together, I'm not passing up on that.
All right. We putting the game back together like New Edition. So we about to make it happen. All right, we got Washington. Really culture shift. Well, this thing, and got rid of their first round pick quarterback. They mean business over there in Washington, but they got a great defense as well. They got a lot of promising parts over there. Great leadership in the coach, and so what do you think Washington's going to do?
They need a quarterback bad, but at the end of the day, I'm going to go all in on defense. Like the way they've done, the way they double down. This just seems like something Washington would do. J.C. Horn, which is actually my favorite corner in this draft, my favorite defensive back in this draft. I know he's probably not going to be the first corner taken off the board. That's why I haven't put him up there. But at the end of the day, J.C. Horn, the son of Joe Horn, super physical player, super athletic. They always say, he holds too much, he grabs too much, he's too physical. But hey, you can coach that out of him. But all I know is when the star receivers come, he's shadowing that guy. He competes. This is a guy that competes. He loves to take on these challenges. And J.C. Horn is going to look amazing next to Chase Young, Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen from Alabama. You have Daron Payne from Alabama, Ryan Kerrigan. These guys putting pressure on the quarterback. And you telling me that J.C. Horn only has to cover for like 2 or 3 seconds? He can put a mean jam on you, and you're not going to see the ball. So, yeah, I think this is going to be something very interesting if this goes down. J.C. Horn.
Well, that feels very Rivera-like when you think about the defensive mindset. The Bears said, hey, Pace is staying and Nagy's staying. They're bringing the band back. Folks are just blowing up Chicago radio. 670 the score is going crazy. People are in the street. People might not have their mask on in Chicago unless the Hawk is keeping them in. I know Hampton was sick when he heard about it, but they're keeping them. So the band back together. I had a chance to sit with Pace up in the press box. He came to a game up in Wisconsin scouting, and young guy. We got a good friend over there who's doing his player development and support over there. So they've been developing these young guys, but now they got to put some W's in the bank. So what do? They got this 20th pick, and there's a lot of meat on the bone right now. What do they do?
I'm going Kyle Trask. I know, man. They picked up a quarterback last year in Nick Foles. They ended up benching the quarterback they had before, Mitch Trubisky. But I'm bringing in Kyle Trask and having him to compete, and he's going to be my quarterback going forward. If I can find Kyle Trask.
Well, Trask had that high-powered Florida offense going.
I could do this. Quarterback.
Had that high-powered offense going in Florida. They failed Alabama in the SEC championship.
Can you believe Kyle Trask was the 84th ranked player in this draft?
Well, you bring him to Chicago. Now, I don't know. We definitely going to hear from Hampton, so we're going to get a chance to understand and see how he feels about what you think when we get on the show again. Here's another team that's in a really unique position. Lost one to Buffalo up there. They got a lot going on. I think obviously they got an aging quarterback, Phillip Rivers, who struggled. He showed some brilliance of Phillip, but then threw them interceptions, timely and untimely interceptions, if you want to talk about it. But they got Jonathan Taylor at running back. They got a really good defense. They with all the meat on the bone here, they can really add some value here at 21.
This is another team needs a quarterback. By the end of the day, there's not another quarterback that is worth picking at this point. The guys that are going to be available are not guys that will perform on the NFL level, especially as a first-round pick. So we got news this past week. I think it was yesterday that Anthony Costanzo retired, the offensive tackle. So I'm going to replace him with the best available tackle, and that's going to be Samuel Cosby out of Texas. He's a solid guy. He's really solid at that tackle position. He can play both sides, the right and the left tackle. And we got to really keep that momentum going with this offensive line because that's the identity of this Indianapolis Colts team. We got Quentin Nelson, just a road grader that opens up holes. And he really, when the year he got drafted, you've really seen the identity of this team change. And one of my favorite running backs in the league, probably my favorite running back in the league, Marlon Mack, running behind him. He got injured this year. He wasn't able to finish the season out, but Jonathan Taylor stepped up. There's another guy that Hank be hating on. No. I was real high on Jonathan Taylor before the season. He was just saying, "Oh, he fumbles. He's fumbling too much."
Well, I watched him at Wisconsin. I spent a lot of time watching him at Wisconsin, and he has some just fumbles that I just didn't understand. And he's got that corrected a little bit. I think they gave up too quick on Jacoby, and I
think he could fit here.
I think bringing Rivers in, his mobility, his ability actually would have been better for them. I just think they gave up on him too soon, and I don't understand the reason. But I think they need to revisit that. I think with the team they have now, and they put him in there, I think he can make the plays they need to make. He's been competitive. He's won some games. I just think they didn't allow him to develop and grow the way they should have, and brought Phillip Rivers in, who at times when you need somebody to be mobile, he can't help you. And if he can't help you there, he can't make the mistakes. And there time and time again, he made that interception. He threw that interception that just didn't happen.
So
all right.
Do you know that Jonathan Taylor is third in rushing yards in the whole NFL?
I mean, we know he can run the ball, which is like make sure you don't drop the ball. Nobody's ever questioned his ability to run, but don't drop it. And I think he kind of figured out not to drop the ball. Like, don't you got to bring the luggage with you, right? And so, but nobody can ever question his ability to run and get through and accelerate through the hole. All right, we got the Titans. The Titans, they all right. They got a lot of stuff going on right now. They got going. I think they got some good stuff, but they're at that point where they got a window right now. And what are they going to do with this window? It's going to be interesting with them, as you start to see what's happening with the Colts. Houston's in a little bit of struggle. Jacksonville's going to get a big-time quarterback. We got to see where they go with everything else. But you got a little window here that you can take advantage of and really kind of seal the deal if you want to. And so what do you got them doing at 22?
I can't believe, and I absolutely can't believe I went this far without saying Jalen Waddle's name. And that's exactly where I'm going. Jalen Waddle. You got A.J. Brown. You got, of course, King Henry, Derrick Henry running the rock. Having another guy that is a threat, and especially a threat to stretch the field and just keep attention off of that box. Any ways you can lighten the box to make it even easier to hand Derrick Henry the ball. We saw it in the Baltimore game. They stacked the box and they said we're only worried about A.J. Brown right now. That's the only receiving threat we're worried about. And if you add Waddle on the other side, and you use him kind of in creative ways, you can add like an alert bubble, like a RPO slant here and there. You can tag that onto your runs and just make it that much harder to defend. And that's why I'm going Jalen Waddle at 22.
All right, we got Waddle who played in the championship game. We all question whether or not to play, but if he's able to go here at 22 and do it, it still didn't hurt him very much.
All right, can I actually? No, I didn't.
Stay on it. We got your first board. We got to get your technique down. And here we come back. The Jets come back here. You got the Jets back in the building. Where do you got the Jets going here with their second pick of the
I got Kadarius Toney. The human joystick, this guy, his change of direction is ridiculous. He has moves for days. Like, his footwork is ridiculous. And having him in the slot, just giving Sam Darnold some more weapons. I know we already addressed the offensive line, so now we can give him some more weapons. So I think that's where I'm going, Kadarius Toney.
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, giving him some stuff that he can work with, adding, some speed, adding more tools in there, things that would allow him to get the ball out of his hand quickly as well, avoid those turnovers is going to be very helpful. All right, we got my Pittsburgh Steelers. Boy, it was the most disappointing loss I had a chance to watch at all. But we have a chance to kind of come back and make this thing happen. Can we establish our identity? That's what we talk about. The Steelers, this is about right now. This is an identity draft. This is going to be where you see, are they going back to what we know them to be? That's something we need to figure out. And so, Darnell, I've been waiting to get a sense of what you think my Steelers are going to do.
I know y'all going to say, okay, why you just drafted 2 running backs in the first round. But this is my mock draft. And I do what I want to do.
That's right. I'm bringing you on here.
I'm picking Travis Etienne. And if I'm a Steelers, I need to get that back that I can use in the running game, in the passing game, throw screens to him, run the ball, establish that identity. And I'm going Travis Etienne to just make up for that, make up for letting Le'Veon Bell go. Now I got him to play alongside of James Conner. They can split reps, so neither one of them is going to be overworked. Just have a great 1-2 punch.
Now I think it's Connor's a free agent along with.
Sure.
Well, yeah, I think he's a free agent. So if you're able to resign him and get Etienne, that's going to be great. But if you don't, this tells you you got
Etienne. I mean,
you got him. You got somebody who can move something. I need somebody who can move something. And
I don't want to see any more receivers playing running back for the Steelers.
Yeah, and they need somebody who's won. Like he's winning, right? And he's used to having success. So I like that. All right, we go back to Jaguars. They got the quarterback.
Hey, this one hurt me. This one hurt me because I really wanted to hold off on and give Travis Etienne back to Trevor Lawrence, but I'm not gonna be able to do it. I'm going another legacy pick. I'm going to Sante Samuel Jr. This guy is his daddy's son. If you ever watched him play, he is definitely his daddy's son. He is a playmaker personified. When the ball is in the air, he is going to get it. Like, he might be slightly undersized. He's 5'10", but you know what? I'll take a dog any day of the week.
And sometimes you got to play. I always say sometimes you got to take the best player available for what you need. And when you have a cat like that already understands what it means to be in the league, already understands the professional side of it, can focus on what it means to play. Like, he's been around it. He grew up around it. So there's nothing new he's going to be shocked by. Now he can just focus on getting in the game and making things happen. And that's somebody who can just come in and be a pro right away. All right, we got the Cleveland Browns. I don't even want to talk about them, but we got the Browns.
Yeah, this is a team that has talent everywhere. Like I said, I love building the house, and this is exactly what they did. They just got talent everywhere, and so that really gives you a lot of freedom to where you want to where you want to go with this pick. And you got Myles Garrett. And if you put a guy next to on the other side of Myles Garrett to where you can't necessarily slide the line over, you got Myles Garrett on one side, you got Azeez Ojulari. I know Azeez Ojulari is not on the same level as a Myles Garrett, but if you seen him in that last game against Cincinnati, he absolutely put it on full display. His skill set and the way he can rush the passer. I'm going to Azeez Ojulari out of Georgia.
Okay. Those Georgia guys, that's gonna be great. All right, we got the Bucks. Tom Brady, he's definitely gonna be coming back. So what else do we add to this team that's making a run to the Super Bowl right now?
I'm going edge again. I'm going Joseph Osai out of Texas. This guy, he's solid. He might not be as crafty as Ojulari is, but he is very serviceable. And if you play him alongside the veterans that they have on that defense, he's not going to have to do everything. He's not going to have to be a killer, but he's a guy that he knows how to do his job, and he's going to do his job. I'll just put it that way. Out of Texas.
All right, and sometimes you just need a guy who come in and just be professional when you got a championship level team all together. And we got these Baltimore Ravens. If you're talking about a team that's made a lot of great picks and know how to do it, Ozzie Newsome set the standard. This is a team that knows how to draft. You're talking about who can draft well. They've drafted well. So it'd be interesting to see what you think they're going to do.
Man, every year we see people mock linebackers in Baltimore. I mean, they got Patrick Queen last year. I'm not necessarily going to go there again, but even though the value is there, they really need another receiving threat. They do have guys like Willie Snead, guys like Mark Andrews. They find creative ways to get them the ball, but you need that number one guy. And out of Ohio State, you have Chris Olave. He's just a great route runner. You watched him. He's like the light version of Devontae Smith. I watched them play. Their games are actually extremely similar. Like they play a lot alike. It's just that Devontae Smith has that extra gear that Chris Olave might not have, but he does. What he does have is valuable, and he knows how to get open. The Alabama found a way to take away at the beginning of last out of the national championship game, but you saw in the fourth quarter when they were trying to come back, they kept going to Olave over and over and over again. He was making catches, and I'm going to Olave right here.
Okay.
How many receivers have they got over Olave? They got Rashad Bateman, Terrace Marshall. Nah, I'm going to Olave.
All right, and we're not sure what's going to happen with New Orleans after this year, whether or not Breeze is going to continue to play, but this is his final run. But they're building a good program down there. They're trying to plan for the future. So what do you think they do down there in New Orleans here with still a lot of meat on the bones?
I don't know if you've seen this guy play before. He comes out of Missouri, but this guy is a football player. This guy, I absolutely love watching this guy play. His name is Nick Bolton. Like he can hit. He can really lay a hit on you. But other than that, he is disciplined. This is a guy that he doesn't get misdirected a lot. He reads his keys, and he seems to always be in position. He might not test super great on the combine. He's not going to run as fast as Dylan Moses, but I'm okay with that because he always knows where he's going to be. And that discipline is going to take him there, and when he gets there, he can hit you. I'm going Nick Bolton.
And that just makes a good defense even better. We're seeing New Orleans really building a really good defense, and that's part of even the shift away as Breeze is aging. You're trying to transition. A thing that can help you transition is a really good defense. While you're trying to build and retool the offense, you got a great head coach who knows how to build an offense, be creative. But when you got a defense who can get the ball back, that allows for you to develop that. The Bills Mafia is happy and they're loving it. They got Josh Allen. They got Diggs. They got the crew running. What do they need? What do you see them?
They don't need much. They don't need much. This is another team that has loaded talent everywhere. They got edge rushers. They got interior defensive linemen. They got cornerbacks. They got safeties. They got receivers. They got running backs. They got a quarterback. They got it all. So you can really go best available. But I'm going linebacker here because the other levels of the team are pretty much set. I'm going with Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah out of Notre Dame. It's a guy. He's a great athlete. He can run sideline to sideline. I know you got Edmonds. He can also do the same. He can run sideline to sideline as well. Having them two together, you can be in that nickel set. You can have the three corners in there. Have the two linebackers that can run like almost not. I'm not gonna say they run like DBs, but they run like bigger safeties. And that's in today's NFL. That's something valuable because you can cover a lot of ground, and they're not soft either. I mean, they will tackle.
All right. That sounds like a really good pick for them, and as a culture pick too, right? Continuing the culture. Green Bay, they're gonna really be on the clock, even though they were successful and they got through all the controversies last year's draft. A lot of folks gonna be looking at what they do here, depending on how their run goes and whatever. A lot of people, Devontae Adams has been off the charts. They've had some young receivers step up. Their tight end has come together and give them some stuff. They obviously are that team right now in NFC, and we'll see how they do in the playoffs. But they still can use some more talent there on the offensive side of the ball. What do you got them doing?
I got you sooner or later you're gonna have to draft another receiver. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know their GM would beg to differ, but if I'm in their shoes, I'm drafting Rondale Moore. He's just I've mentioned before. I forgot what team I was talking about before. I think when I was talking about the receiving threats of different types. I was talking about the Chargers when I was possibly giving them Jalen Waddle, even though I didn't do it. But when you have receivers that can do different things, you got Rondale Moore who catches the ball, and after he catches the ball, he runs like a running back. Like he turns upfield. He's a quick, fast guy, but he's sturdy. Like he's strong. He's not going to be brought down easily, and he's just an all-around threat. You can use him to return kicks as well. He's just going to be he's a weapon.
I think that will make up for pass ends if they can do it. And he also can kick return. He's a talented kind of person. He can give you multiple use, but he's a gamer, and he can take it to the house. And I think they'll love him. They'll love him in Green Bay.
I'll tell you what, this second round would be interesting too. We're not going to do it today, but I'm looking at some of these names, and yeah, Rondale Moore. All
right. We got what everybody predicts to be the champions. I'm gonna say the champions here, but there's a lot of football still to be played. But they did their thing last year in the draft as well, considering what was there on the bones. And is Kansas City just gonna get richer? Because there's still a lot of meat on the bones over here. Who do you have Kansas City going to get?
I'm going with the luxury pick. This guy, he's coming off an injury. So this year, he didn't necessarily look like himself. But we know with ACLs, it's not – the next year, you're usually not 100%. It's usually the second year you come back. Now you're starting to feel like yourself. You're starting to trust that knee a little more, and you're closer to 100%. And knowing what I know about this kid, if he can get back to 100%, you get excellent value. I'm going Dylan Moses. This is like what the Browns were doing the last few years. They take chances on picks because they just have the ability to take chances because they just have so much talent on the roster that they can take a flyer on Dylan Moses, which is absolutely crazy for me to say, taking a flyer on Dylan Moses. Dylan Moses is one of the highest rated recruits of his time. So for the Chiefs to pick up a guy like Dylan Moses is mind-blowing.
All right, everybody. We did our first RSG DKJ's NFL mock draft big board. We got a lot of great picks here. This is our first iteration, just like you see with other big boards. We're going to come back. Darnell is going to do some evaluation, see more information that comes out, and we're going to see if his board changes. If you have any thoughts or remarks or comments, please go on our Real Sports Guys, our RSG Lounge page and group, and share your thoughts. Darnell will definitely be on there, going back and forth, and on other social media platforms. We'll get to the point where we'll post this on our website as well. But this has just been a great way to be on StreamYard live. We're live streaming on Facebook as well as YouTube, sharing this out, and this has kind of been a dream. It's been funny because Darnell and I have kind of talked about this back and forth, and then he just came through. That's why I appreciate you, Youngin, being assertive, pushing it out there, doing it right. You've done an excellent job with this. There's going to be, with these things, people always debate, but I thought you've given a lot of good insight in it. And we look forward to coming back with you and doing another update or kind of look at it here. In a few weeks, come back and look at your big board and see how we move some of these things around to see if there's been any changes based on any new information. All right. How you feeling about it?
I'm feeling good so far. I mean, I know a lot of these picks, not a lot of them, but some of them are not conventional. They're not your conventional picks. They're not necessarily the chalk picks. These are picks that I would make if I were in their position. But at the end of the day, this is my list. But
this is DKJ's list.
Yeah, you can almost do two of them. Have like an approach where you're doing it your way and having it to where you think what you would expect them to do. And I kind of did a little bit of both because I did Caleb Farley above J.C. Horn, but in real life I wouldn't do that. So I probably have Zach Wilson a little higher, in my opinion. But overall, I like the way it turned out.
Well, this is our first time doing it. I thought it was a great way to do it here on StreamYard. I hope y'all really enjoyed this first edition of RSG's DKJ's NFL mock draft big board. And we'll be back, in a few weeks to take a look at the big board to see if there's any changes. Again, thank you for everything. If you want to check us out, please go to realsportsguys.com or look for Real Sports Guys on all social media platforms. Darnell, myself, and all the other folks are around, and we love to go back and forth with folks. So you Browns fans, keep coming. I got plenty more. I know I had to go and knock a couple people out, on Facebook. So don't test me. I got plenty more with that. But until next time, this is Devon Wilson with Darnell Kirkland Jr., and this is RSG. Take care, y'all.